Hello everybody, Harold Newbill, McClatchy Insurance Agency, standing in front of the courthouse in Sacramento, California to talk a little bit today about liability insurance. You have personal liability, then you have business forms of liability, and then it can also come in the form of professional liability, cyber liability, liquor liability. So for today, we're just going to focus on personal liability and general liability. So without further ado, let's get started. To begin, personal liability. Personal liability is based on the idea that accidents happen, whether it was pure negligence or just happenstance, but if something of yours did something to someone else, bodily injury or property damage, you can end up in court right over here. And when you end up in court, you're going to need an attorney to defend you in that suit. If you're liable and the policy has coverage for that, they're going to pay that instead of you. So that means that while the mistake happened, that damage is not devastating, and the person who was harmed by whatever means it was is going to be made whole, and in the end, get a release for you so that both parties can move on. Those policies, like I said, can be examples of an auto accident. Your children's friends are over at the house and somebody is hurt, backing out of your driveway and hitting the neighbor's fence and causing damage to the home. All of those things could be liability, which your homeowner's policy or your personal auto or your umbrella may compensate you for. One of the key elements to keep in mind is accidental and not intentional acts. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. It's important to recognize that intentional acts, or even more so on that end, a criminal act, will preclude coverage in most to not all circumstances. So when you see things like the new thing in the news about firearms in San Jose and requiring owners to purchase insurance, just purely from an insurance nature, it's important to understand that if it were an accident, such as a negligent discharge where a round is fired while you're cleaning it and that hurt a neighbor, that may be covered. Insurance is the basis of accountability for one another in the system so that one member of our society, if wounded by another, can get restitution. Now, we can't cover everything or every scenario, but those are some examples that come up and why it's important to understand accidents versus intentional and the types of personal liability claims that you can see and experience. The next step in that is saying, well, how much do I need? To some degree, one would ask, what do you have to lose? You know, if you don't have the means that $1 million lawsuit can be brought to you, then that's one thing to consider. I always recommend $500,000 or above. At our agency in auto insurance, we always recommend 100, 300, and above with uninsured motorist, med pay, and all of those features. Because you want to make sure that whether you hurt someone or someone hurts you, the example of uninsured motorist, that you're going to be covered and allowed the opportunity to become whole. So that's kind of the nutshell of personal liability. So business liability, sometimes referred to as general liability, pretty commonly actually. General liability is bodily injury or property damage caused to someone by the nature of your business. Maybe you're a window washer and you drop something from your ladder and it hurts somebody. Someone slips and falls at your apartment complex. Somebody who works for you is loading a truck and a dolly gets away from them and hurts another. Those are all some of many examples of an area that general liability may assist you. Slip and fall and bodily injury and all of those areas. Another example of this type of insurance is professional liability. This is for your lawyers, your doctors, your engineers, your architects, your dentists, insurance agents, financial professionals, and many others that I probably didn't think of. Should a mistake be made in your course of work, it will defend you, it will help restore the injured party, and help you get back to work, hopefully better than you were before, having learned an area to improve your business. You want to make sure you work with an insurance professional like us to get it in place and understand that there are concepts such as retentions, which is similar to a deductible, not quite the same. Defense costs inside the limit, which can mean the defense of you in that case is included in that $1 million, for example, versus outside the limit, where that $1 million is used to pay the injured party. Lastly, those other types of liability we mentioned, liquor liability. If you're a bar or a restaurant and someone leaves your restaurant and they get in an accident due to liquor you served, you could be in court for that. Maybe It includes cyber liability, client data, medical data, social security numbers. We were on the news recently about this. Those sorts of things and how to protect your business encompass cyber liability. But this is just kind of a quick discussion. The bottom line is, talk to us, talk to an insurance professional about your liability needs, understand the exposures that you face, and make sure that in the end you buy the insurance you need to be successful. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you watching. Remember, like the video, subscribe, and if you got an idea for another video that we could make, email me, Harold@McClatchyINS.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, and have a good one.